Okay, so we're live. We had
Surprise!
we had a bit of an update on StreamYard, and I think that now we're live as well.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
I should put my $100,000 cap on. We need it. We need the. I bought this 3 years ago. Wore it around when Bitcoin was 25 grand. People were looking at me like I was a limpy dicky. And so anyway, every time I think you need to wear this hat. This, maybe we need another one though. Maybe it needs to say 100,000 baseline. You know, something like that. What's up? What's
Did
up,
you?
everybody?
Hey Gary, welcome to Cardone Debates.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. I understand that you guys want me to spend the next 2 hours talking about all my successes. To look, you want me to look at all the successes and just share my brilliance with everyone. Is that what I'm supposed to be doing tonight?
Yes. Well,
And
you say. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I'm just trying to clarify.
So you know what I've been really excited about for this one, Gary?
Please do tell.
All of the most successful people I've ever known have had lots of failures. And unlike a lot of people, they don't they don't wear them as like a shameful or terrible act. It's the cost of learning and doing business. And so people need to learn to embrace failure because otherwise things like resiliency and persistence wouldn't matter. And the key is just making sure that you learn from those failures and mistakes along the way. I'm sure you've got plenty. I've got plenty. I'm sure Dana has plenty. And I'm sure your brother has plenty, including not being here on time. So let's go.
Dude, that was good. Nobody prepares for the failures. Like you go to college and nobody prepares you for, hey, what if this goes wrong? Even many of the conversations that we have on X, no one's ever thinking about the back door. Like, how seldom does anybody actually talk about, hey, listen, I'm accumulating all this Bitcoin and but I have no exit. My exit is Bitcoin forever and ever. And I just think that the world changes too dynamically to say I'm going to do something forever and ever and ever. I think the only way you learn it is like the person that makes no mistakes probably took no chances. And if somebody were to ask me, hey, give me 3 or 4 stories that will distill down into enough where somebody can look at it and go, oh, wow, that's success or failure. I would literally share the failures. I would never, ever share any of the successes because, quite frankly, they're very fleeting. This is the other thing people don't talk about. Now, maybe my brother's got such an empire that it is never fleeting for him because he has transcended to some new level. But my suggestion is, as long as he is a humanoid, shit is going to happen in one's life that you did not anticipate. You can't manage, you can't guarantee it. And that's the game of life. And I got to tell you, if I won everything, it would be so boring. Imagine, Dana, if you got absolutely everything you wanted. You woke up, you went, hey, I want to be blonde, 6 foot tall, bang, bang, you do that. I want this big super stud right next to me with a bunch of Bitcoin, and I want to be on a private jet. By the time you've done that 5 or 6 times, you will be so bored. And you'll want something different. And that's been my experience. This is why I don't know why people get really rich and they keep doing the same thing. I find it really bizarre. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just don't know how they can stay entertained in it. Like Larry Ellison. Like, I look at Larry Ellison Oracle, I'm like, bro, I mean, now you're doing deals with the government and the CIA, and like, is it ever going to be enough here? I mean, when are, I don't know. To me, the success thing is, hey, am I at peace? with myself while I'm doing what I'm doing, whether I'm having a war or whether I'm winning. Am I still okay with, like, I know that's airy fairy, it's not a business thing, but I am totally convinced that once you deviate from your core purpose, you're already in the mistake. And the more money you make, the less you think you're in a mistake. And so just the whole awareness of what somebody is trying to do, like, I do not define success as money. So, when we talk about failure and success, it'd be interesting. I'd love one. It'd be really interesting just to talk with Grant. Hey, like, how do we define these terms? Failure. I mean, I've had a lot. I've probably had more failures than my brother. And some of them have been, they're like 3 and 4 year setbacks. But I'm not sure I would have done it differently. Now, there's a few things on the personal front that I most certainly would have done differently. But in the business world, and again, that's how you got it. Hey, what are we talking about? Failure and success. Is it just money and equity and power, or is it something bigger or better? Hey, Grant, good to have you, buddy.
Hey, Grant. Man. You're on mute. Oh, no, we can't hear you. You might be connected to Bluetooth.
We know you're a mutant, but we don't want you to be muted. There he goes. It's always the technologies and the celebrities that have all the problems with their gear. I mean, the rest of us come on here. Hey, can I get on my phone, man? Good, let's do it.
So, Gary, I've had some business failures that haunted me. Like a couple times I was doing startups and ran out of runway. And it's really hard when you have like something you really believe in that will work, and you just run out of the capital because you didn't give yourself enough runway. The disappointment in the people who believe, so I would say, like, as far as defining failure, right? I think we all set out to do things that end up not happening. And it's what lessons you take away from those, how you adapt to those. But I look back, and even on those things where, like, maybe that idea did not manifest, but something else manifested as a result of the skills and the lessons that I learned there, right? So, but I think failure is pretty easy to define. It's just not accomplishing what you set out to accomplish.
Can you guys hear me now?
There he is.
Well, thank you guys for having me. It's good to be with you. Gary, good to see you. Dana. Is it Dana? Yeah, and Dustin.
Likewise. Great to have you. Thanks, Grant.
Yeah, sorry I'm late.
Grant made a comment once. Because he knew you were doing some work with me. He said, "Oh, I think that's Gary's girl. I think he's you remember you said that, Grant?" I heard that. I heard it, man. Dana's a globetrotter. Grant, and you know Dustin, correct?
Dustin, where have we met?
We've done a bunch of stuff. I think we first met playing poker.
Okay. All right.
Who won?
We did several cool things. Your story about the Las Vegas shooting.
Yeah.
Gathering was really
got it.
Okay, well let's do this, guys.
Failure.
Me and Grant hate quiet spaces.
Well, let's go ahead and define failure, because we've already decided that it's not necessarily how much money that you've made, right? But I want to push back on what Dustin said, because he said it's not succeeding in what you set out to do. But don't you guys say to set the bar really high so you never quite reach it? Would you say that, Gary and Grant, you guys both believe in that, or what's your definition of failure?
Go ahead, Grant. You're the old man. Old men get to go first.
Yeah. Well, I think you guys already went. Look, I don't think. I think
we went because we were trying to fill up space for our celebrity guest who wasn't on time.
Okay. So I think that for me, I used to believe in failure, and today I'm actually more in the arena of, if you don't quit, it would be impossible to fail. So it goes right in line with what Dustin was saying. Maybe it doesn't turn out I won this race. I I didn't win this race, but maybe that wasn't the ultimate thing anyway. Like, there's a whole bunch of things in life I haven't gotten. I wanted to be on Shark Tank for years, and I went there. Mark Cuban didn't like me. A couple of the other producers thought I was just a sales guy. And Damon John said, yeah, we need a sales guy on our team. And, they never picked me, right? So 11 years later, I saw Damon and Kevin O'Leary at Malibu at the Nobu. And 11 years later, like, my life had changed. I mean, those guys became, TV stars. Everybody knows them everywhere they go. And my life also changed over those 11 years. Like, financially, changed in ways that I never, ever dreamed or fathomed. And had I done that show, had I been accepted on that show, I would not have built the real estate portfolio. I wouldn't have done my VIT business. Probably wouldn't have written the 10X rule. I wouldn't have, probably 90%, because ABC would not have allowed me to, sell products and services online. So, sometimes you don't win the race, but you can still win if you don't quit. Like, that's why I know Elon. Elon's got that superpower. He knows if he doesn't quit. Remember, he was willing to blow rockets up. He just knew he wasn't going to quit.
This is a very, to me, I learned, like, being in the corporate world where people are moving around, they're getting fired, or like my first job was at Dynegy. It was called Natural Gas Clearinghouse. And there were 8 men who were my age within 2 or 3 years of my age, and they were all my bosses. It was a whole level above me, and I went in. And this is actually good for me and Grant to be doing, because I think Grant's message to many people come up to me and go, hey, I need to own my own business. It's the only way I'm going to get wealthy. And I'm like, I don't think that's what Grant says. I think you could easily hear that. That is what Grant's saying. But I worked in a corporation for 17 years. And what I learned is that if I look at my own corporation and the business that corporation's in, I have to look at that as a war field. Hey, where am I going to be best fit on this battlefield one day? One, I know, hey, I have to build a reputation. And I have to build a reputation that doesn't get slaughtered by some mistake. And I literally think if all you did was think about attrition, that the people around you are going to get lazy, they're going to do drugs, they're going to get off focus, they're going to go chase that next deal, they're going to jump jobs because somebody offered them 200 grand. I was offered millions of dollars many times. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm not leaving this group of people. They were loyal to me, and I'm learning from them. And they're allowing me the platform to be Gary. I did not have to change to work in that operation. If I would have gone to Chevron, I would have died, because my culture is not suited for that. So the attrition thing, to watch people make mistakes far smarter than me, MBAs up the boozoozies, right? And all I needed to do was find my lane and mind my own business and do something spectacular while everybody else was going to meetings. And as that organization grew and grew, everybody wanted to go to the meetings to be seen. And I'm in England going, dude, I ain't coming to the meetings. I've got a business to run.
Gary, so on that, I have a question. So can you give us an example of when you went outside your lane in that environment and it didn't work out for you? Like, do you have like one of those memories when you did step outside and you got, slapped upside the head for it?
Yeah. So I'm 27 years old, 28 maybe. I've already got a reputation in the industry as being a very aggressive trader, very aggressive in the oil and gas patch. Okay. It's just not. And I was aggressive. We were trading the most violent commodity in the planet. So I'm like, hey, everybody's a fucking player here. I get to slash and dash. Nobody. The next time would call my boss up and go, hey, man, we sold 500 million cubic feet a day to Gary this week. We don't want to deal with him again. And Steve would be like, he'd look at the price and go, dude, he overpaid you. Yeah, we know, but dude, guys, he's edgy. And I had to learn, that's going to be a characteristic that team of people I have. I had it long enough. even if I improved, one little slip up at a Christmas party, oh, Gary's back. 7 years, dude. And families do this to each other also, right? They put a mask on the person and go, okay, I can only accept so much data from my sibling or my parent or whatever. So anyway, where I was trying to get to was that I assessed that I was going to fail if I stayed in Houston, Texas, because I had nowhere to go, dude. So I started writing, and thank you. And I wrote something down and said, I'm going to run an energy business. I'm going to build and run an energy business in Europe. I have no idea why I wrote that. It just came out of my hand. This is why I talk about being the brush. That came out of my hand. It went on a piece of paper, and I'm like, that's fucking impossible. With my background, come on, man. 6 months later, British Gas bought 25% of our company. British Gas was the largest energy player in Europe. I immediately stuck my hand up because I knew, oh, wow, follow action with the vision. I said, I want to go to London, dude. And they said, not a chance. We had 600 people working for us. They laughed at me. They went and asked 599 people to go, and nobody in America would go. Just a Grant story. Everybody wanted to stay on the mothership. I left, would retire in 8 years, like totally walk away. None of these guys walked away. They got stuck in a bunch of lawsuits. I saw one lawyer, never sold a share of stock, have $500 million worth of net worth, and ended up broke because they got so cocked in on the deal. They kept doing the same thing over and over and over. That's when I learned, hey, taking risk is absolutely essential. Not taking the risk is where for me, it is where the failure comes, not trying the deal. At least when I know that that's something I have to do.
Grant, I'm curious. So your empire seems to be in everything, right? It seems like you have tentacles in all kinds of industry. I kind of lean towards Gary, which is I have caught myself failing several times when I overextended. I didn't concentrate on what I do well and tried to do everything everywhere. From the outside, it might look like that, but I'd be curious on your take on that in specific. Like, do you focus on what you do well, or do you just look for the best opportunities and go after it? And you got on mute.
Mute.
Oh yeah, I put it on mute to be respectful, and then I forget I'm on mute. But look, I know it would appear that I'm in a lot of things, but everything that I'm in, they're all symbiotically connected. So if I move my index finger, if I move my education business, it's going to move the other five. They're all connected. They're very connected. I'm basically driving one vehicle down the road, and there's a bunch of other stuff in tow, and it's moving stuff. I don't have anything that's not connected. So like, I stayed in the same lane. Somebody told me this, the riches are in the niches. Some millionaire guy told me that. And I'm like, oh yeah, stay in your lane. That was so stupid because, today we're building highways that have 6 and 7 and 8 lanes. And if your lane gets blocked up, I would learn this in 2010. I was 99.9% of my income was dependent upon auto dealers. And in 2008, 9,000 car dealers went out of business in 1 week. Literally 9,000 car dealers were out of business in 9 days. And so half the industry that I sold to was out of business. The other half had no money. Bang. I had 2 companies that serviced one industry. They both went to shit. And I had real estate that was completely frozen. I couldn't move any of that. And my wife said to me, we were living in Los Angeles. Gary was living like a half a block from me. And my wife said to me, you got to figure this out. So you better figure this out, because Lehman collapsed that day. She saw me go white, like sheet white. And she's like, what's going on? I'm like, we could go bankrupt. I have no flows. All my flows are going to stop. And I had known for years that I was dependent upon one industry. You'll know it, financial, you'll know it because you'll see all the income coming from one source, but you'll also know it emotionally because you'll start to resent your client. If you resent your client, resentment is actually to me, and look, I don't pretend to be an authority for anybody except myself. But when I'm in resentment, it's because I'm dependent. I no longer have resentment issues with my customers. Like less than 0.5% of my business comes from car dealers today. That was my fault. I was so dependent because I was lazy and I was so used to this, stay in your lane, son, do your thing. You can only talk to car dealers. 2008 was the best thing that happened to me in my career. And it forced me to go, I basically sat down for 3 hours in my office and I came to my wife and I said, I figured it out. And she's like, what? I said, I'm going to be in 10 places or 100 places or 1,000 places. Everyone's going to know my name. Social media just shown up. I said, I don't know how I'm going to get known, but I'm going to make my name known to every industry. And I know my family gets sick of me watching me go on social media and proselytize myself and say, I'm the best and I'm the great. This is my business. This is my business. This is my survival, is to go out and tell the world who I am, make extremely strong claims about what I believe, and it's going to divide people. Half the people are going to like me and the other half are going to hate my guts. And by the way, I wouldn't be where I'm at without the haters because they commercialize me more than the people that support me. So like I'm rocking my brand right now. You're not going to, the chance of you seeing me not rocking my brand means you're sleeping in my bed. And even then, I could be wearing some 10X underwear.
So how do you deal with that, Grant, when people are saying negative things like?
Well, you don't know how to handle it. In the beginning, the first problem, Dana, is in the beginning, no one even hears what you're saying. They don't even see you. Rejection is painful, but being ignored completely is way worse. So for you guys that get rejected, if you're on a sales call, remember, you got to make that sales call. You got in the door and you were rejected. Imagine the 10 people that didn't even get in the door because they were ignored. And I've been ignored my whole life by even people that loved me, like people that I grew up with, never expected I would do what I've done or what my brother's done. And Gary's inspired me a lot. Gary once compared us to race cars. Like he gets ahead, I draft, I get ahead, he drafts. We're pulling each other. This is very, very important that people have examples. Now, on the hater thing, there's no book that gets anybody ready. I can't imagine what some of these celebrities go through. I was talking to one of the biggest movie stars in the world, and he says, you're getting a lot of hate right now. I see you getting some hate. I said, dude, it's heavy. He's like, you don't even know. Because the amount he gets compared to me would be 10,000 times. And he reminded me, he's like, look, man, nobody hates down. Okay. And if they do, that means you're getting the attention of the right people. But very seldom does anybody hate down. They hate up. And that's really helped me. So another person, reminded me that hate it's an inverted version of admiration. It is a form of admiration to hate. And so yeah, how do I handle it? I very rarely block anyone. The only time I'll block you is when you're hating on my religion, or for me to block a hater is like you had to do some stupid shit. Otherwise, I'm going to keep you in my stream because the people that love and support me, it antagonizes them to decide they want to be behind me and support me. And in a way that I can't do myself. So everybody should hope for haters. Everybody should wish for the haters. The greatest people on this planet acquired the most haters.
See, I would say it. I agree with everything Grant just said. I have never been in an industry where I'm not massively disliked. This is the only industry that I've ever come into that at least the people they were open to meeting. But this is a huge indicator for me when people go, hey, look, you know, what you're doing is stupid, or there's no money in it, and they've been in the business for 20 or 30 years. These are things that, I mean, I've met, like, one thing I'm really, really good at is when I'm learning something, I will meet with people over and over and over again. And I listen really, really well. And I'm asking, I'm probing, look, I think if you really want to have a successful life, you have to learn how to communicate well. You don't need to do math, dude. You need to learn how to communicate and listen. Listening, especially when you're learning about a new business. Oh, what are all the belief systems that this industry have? Oh, it needs trillions of dollars, and like there's only whatever everyone has a belief system. I happen to be going into some very, very large industries that I was trying to disrupt the heck out of them. They knew I was trying to do it. My style was, I'm going to just tell you what I'm going to do, and you can either work with me or be my enemy, knowing full well 90% of them were not going to like the outcome. But it is that feedback that actually feeds me. And I would just say, like, for me, I've never thought about it inspiring other people to inspire them to like me more. It actually inspired my belief system. Because when a guy with 30 years experience is going, hey, nobody's ever done that, dude. There's no money in that. You can't do that. That's going to destroy everything. It's like, why are all you guys saying that when you've never even tried it and the math works out? So it's to me, I need the resistance. I need people telling me this is the dumbest thing since sliced cheese with a HIV injection in it. You know, this is just dumb. I need that kind of negative feedback. And the failures, like every business I go into, Dustin, the first deal I do is usually a failure.
Yep.
Now it's a little trick I do because I do business with some really big companies. I go pick a guy that I want to lose money to.
Yep.
And literally in England, I was doing a deal, the first deal we were doing, and the lady said, you know, you're going to get crushed on this deal, right? I said, oh yeah, I totally know. But it put me in the game, dude. I got on first base.
Yeah.
See, I got on first base. It cost me maybe $1 million. But I'm in the game now. And she had to tell everybody she did a deal with me. She did a deal with Gary Cardone. Boom, I'm lighted up, dude. Oh, wow, you did a deal with him? I'll do a deal with him. And all you need is one. So, look, I need to worry about I need to help other people fail. And I just need to keep my nose clean and focused. Everyone is going to turn into a human sooner or later. And they're going to have human problems and human responses to those problems. And when you're a human being and you have not faced a problem before, you are going to overreact. And overreacting might be not acting at all, doing nothing. That is a massive overreaction. So like, I wish I don't think I would have heard this when I was 25, but if you live long enough, you will have shit that will make you look yourself in the mirror and go, hey, what just happened? And I need to learn something.
So Gary, you talk about the resistance, right? You needing that as fuel to be able to drive. Grant brought up and expressed something that I've heard a lot, which is sometimes you get in a loop and you need something that shocks you out of it, because comfortability, right, is the enemy of like drive, which is and I can't tell you how many stories like I've heard of people where like, you know, I was just trying to maintain like the comfortability that I had established for myself.
Yep.
And it took something from the outside coming in and absolutely wiping that out.
Yep.
And what's wild about it, and Grant, you said it this way, and I've heard it over and over and again, and I can point to 5 or 6 examples in my life where that is the best thing that ever. Now, in the time, it seems like the worst thing that's ever happened to you. That like the sky is falling, you don't know how you're going to make it to the next day. But if you've never been disrupted, like out of the loop that you were in, you'd be stuck in that loop, and you never would have achieved what you were able to achieve.
Yeah, I think this is what the Bitcoin community misses a bit. They think that Bitcoin is the cause, that the debasement of fiat is the reason people are having so many problems, and that Bitcoin is the solution. Sorry, I don't buy it. Okay, the reason people are having so many problems today is because they have made sense of nonsense. They've made sense of where they live. They've made sense of their area code, their zip code, their friends, the barbecues, their nomenclature. They're not curious, man. You got to go across the street. And when you go across the street, you got to go across the railroad tracks. And then you need to go to another town. Every great thing that has ever happened to me. And again, this was an inspiration from Gary. Gary left Lake Charles, Louisiana when he was 25, 26. Gary, when'd you leave?
21.
21, sorry. And I stayed there.
I got out of college, dude. I had to get out. I was going to, I'm here. I just flew into Lake Charles. I'm like, damn, dude.
Oh, you're in Lake Charles right now, bro?
Yeah. I would have died here, dude.
Yeah, 100%. And so I didn't leave until I was 29.
And if I wouldn't have died here, I would have died while living.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no. And comfortable. 2008, when the economy crashed, I was comfortable in my business. I was making a couple $1,000,000 a year. I thought I was hot shit. I was, the number one or number two guy in my industry. And, I knew everybody. Everybody knew me. It was comfortable, man. I was top of the hill. The view was great where I live. I was bored. I was burning out on it, by the way. Burnout is an indication that you're comfortable. You don't ever burn out when you're banging, when you're learning, when you're curious, when you're meeting new people. Burnout is not the issue. Fear is the issue. You're walking into rooms and you don't know anybody. So, I had to make that transition. Those transitions are very, very difficult, particularly if you're successful. They're easy when you're poor. And so all I'm saying to people today, and I've been beating this for 10 years now, the middle class is the most emotionally oppressed group of people on planet Earth because there's no threat in the environment. They're being tricked to believe the government, Joe Biden, Trump, somebody's going to save you. There's going to be some solution suddenly that comes. Bitcoin is going to save you. You're going to get your one Bitcoin and that one Bitcoin is going to be worth 10 million. Bruh, let me tell you something. All right. That is not the problem. The problem is you're not hustling. There's more opportunities today than ever in the history of the world. These young kids that many people are saying are lazy and they don't know how to work and they've been priced out. None of this is true. What they need is inspiration. They need somebody to tap on their shoulder and say, you need to go become a millionaire 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times over. You need to go do it for your mom, your dad, because the opportunities are there. And don't get comfortable. And I think last thing I'll say is I think a lot of this is being ripped off right now. College debt. People are now finally starting to say college could just be a comfort. You got out of high school. I got to go to college because if I didn't go to college, guess what? I'd had to go on to work. And that shit is hard. Now I'm responsible. I got to show up on time. Somebody's going to manage me. They could fire me. They don't fire anybody at college. You don't have to show up at college. You get introduced to drugs and alcohol and STDs when you go to college. Okay. There's no real education there. And I think that Band-Aid's being ripped off. The single family home is the ultimate symbol of the middle class. I bought a house and I paid it off. Oh, good for you. You're never going to walk in your home and open the refrigerator and see an opportunity jump out. But this is what the American middle class has been convinced, and the rest of the world is being sold this bill of goods too now, that the middle class is where you need to be. And the truth is, what people need to be is curious and mobile and taking risk, as Gary stated earlier.
You said something really interesting, Grant, that like so I've never inherited $1 to my name. You said, right, it's easier when you're poor.
100%.
And what's funny is because I didn't have anything, those moments were the easiest to take the biggest amount of risk. Because what am I actually risking? Like what is the worst case scenario if it doesn't work out? I'm right back to being poor in an apartment, grinding at some 9-to-5 job, right? Like I might as well at that point go for whatever it is I think I can do, right? And that doesn't mean to aim for, well, I guess I aim for ridiculous things and then often got there, right? I also found that if you have confidence in what you're doing, right, you stop being afraid of the failure because you can. Oh, I've failed so many. I've been rich and poor. Like I've done the cycle 3 times, and hopefully I'll hold it this time a little better.
Yeah, don't do the other side. The other side again.
Right. And well, I learned some hard lessons. What right? Like I said earlier, a couple of times I tried to do too much at once, and I was in 50 different companies. Right. And everybody wanted my advice. And I was like the hot rising political star in social media. I could like build you. And I was like, I can apply this to everything.
Yeah.
And ended up like too many spinning plates. They're all going to come crashing down. But the thing is, I'm confident that I can always rebound, which is I can always find something, some hustle to get myself back on my feet and strive. And it's that lack of fear of failing that allows you to take the risk. And I thought it was really well said the way you expressed it. For people, I think middle class is literally the enemy. Like you should either be broke
100%.
or having succeeded that's on something that's going to make your life what you want to live it.
Yeah, this is why I play this little trick on myself. I play this little trick on myself 4 times a year. I go broke. I take all the money I have, every penny from every account and drain out to zero. I don't have the Dave Ramsey 90-day account. I mean, obviously I have enough to make sure I make payroll, but you know, I go to zero. And then what happens is I have to wake up next Monday and hustle somebody for something. And I don't feel bad about it either. Like I'm hustling somebody. I'm not giving blowjobs. I don't sell drugs. I'm not doing anything that makes me feel bad about myself. I don't sell products and services that I don't feel good about, but everything else is on the board, bro. Like nobody hustles $19 harder than Grant Cardone. And everybody looks at it like, bro, what's wrong with you? I got 14,000 units that pay us every month. I can never lose those units. But I don't have any cash, man. That's the beauty of real estate people. Real estate people are always broke. Okay. Never take a real estate guy to dinner because you're going to have to you're going to have to pick up the bill because he's always out of cash. So I just play this little trick. I said, rather than waiting for the economy to blast me to zero, I'm going to earn fiat, pay my bills, don't live beyond my means, and take any surplus, and I'm going to dump it into a deal where I'm illiquid. And then I got to go hustle the marketplace again.
I mean, it falls right along with what my political message has always been, which is remove the leverage that people could potentially have over you, and then you control that's what actual freedom is, right? And so for politically, I've always told people, go to the range, make sure you know how to take care of yourself, right? Like, do not rely on anybody to do anything. But the same goes with any risk taking, right? Real freedom is the confidence to know that like you'll get through it.
Yeah.
And you've set aside enough to make sure that I heard it described on podcasts. I can't remember which one, so I won't give them credit. But essentially that somewhere he was talking to somebody successful. He's like, somewhere along your lineage, somebody had fuck you money. And that was what let them take the risk, which is, maybe you had a couple $1 million in the bank. You knew that you were going to be okay. You had the basics covered, and then you could actually go for the big one. And I think that's sage advice. And it's why people should embrace failing, which is, right, your failures will give you the knowledge that you can get through it and allow you to take the risk to succeed eventually. Like, even if it's not even in the same industry or place or whatever.
So hey, let's just talk about this a little bit, because I think there's the point Grant made about the masses of medium income. they're 100% of the people are not going to do what Grant Cardone does, or Dustin, or Dana. It's just not going to happen. Okay. Like, I think sometimes we put a frame on this, like everyone wants the same thing. I don't think that's the way this works. There are people that are just natural born warriors. There are people that are natural born adventurers. And then there are people that are natural born, hey, I just want to handle some details. It's cool. We need detail people, man. You need a bunch of Indians. Like, I don't think, see, this is always a little bit, I don't think most people should go try to run their own business. This is why I think Bitcoin is so cool, because Bitcoin allows someone to own a business without having any management necessity, any understanding other than their debt structure. They don't have to have HR. They don't have to have employment contracts, none of that stuff. But look, I'm going to fail and I'm going to get burned out the moment I'm doing something I don't want to be doing. It's not consistent with me, the soul, me, the being. It matters not how much money I'm making. I'm extremely sensitive to this. Like, I could make $4 million tomorrow morning doing something, I would feel horrible. I don't have any interest whatsoever. It does not attract me. I think where the slippage comes is in the beginning stages of one's career. If you have the balls to go, hey, I need a job and I'm going to go work for a group. You at 21, like, you got to know where your place is. Right then, you're a student. And how can you fail if you're a student, but you're constantly learning? I don't get it. Okay. I don't get why people fail at the beginning, and that is when you should be taking all your risks, dude. Like, literally, you have nothing to lose. Take the risk. Ask for the job. Ask for the promotion. If you're sitting in a company and you're, not going to any meetings, not meeting anyone, I can't see that. Then you don't know what your purpose is. You got out of accounting. I got out of marketing and economics, and Grant gets out of accounting. They say, hey, go be a salesman and an accounting person. There's no test for understanding what someone was built to do. And this is my way of saying, hey, look, I have never attempted to be my brother. I've never attempted to be Michael Jordan. I've never attempted to be one of these hotshot traders. I am me, man. And that is where I get off base. My failure starts when I'm trying to be like other people. And I don't want this to necessarily get into the one-on-one stuff, but like, that is the deal. Like, my brother is successful because he's like, dude, I'm not gonna cower. I think I know what I'm doing, and I'm just gonna play it out. And if you look at people that are successful, they're not following anybody else's rules. Now, if you're not built to follow other people's rules and get the shit that comes with it, the lawsuits, the complaints, the bitching, the complaining, you're a shill, you're this, then you're going to be very, very uncomfortable trying to do what people like me and Grant do. Because we're like, we were called the N word, and there was no sensitivities when we were growing up.
I quit using nickels a long time ago.
Yeah. So I think, to me, that's where people really get into the failure, when they are doing something. It would be like going into a casino and playing 5 or 6 different tables at the same time, but you have no expertise in any of the games. You didn't even read a book to go to the game, and you're going to play a bunch of games, and you're going to play for small dollars. By the way, this is a huge problem for the crypto industry. The reason you guys keep losing all your shit is because you're not betting all your shit. You're betting $500 instead of saving up 500 40 times and then placing a $20,000 bet. And then you're going to fucking think, dude, I can't replace 20, 40, 50, 60 grand. This decision needs to be solid. The rest of the shit is a lottery ticket. You guys are idiots, man. Someone taught you no discipline whatsoever. And you cannot show me, Dustin, do I know almost everybody in this industry?
Damn near everybody.
Dude, I don't know 3 guys that made money doing it the way you guys are doing. Not 3. I don't know 3 guys that made 10 million, much less 100. Not 3. And I know a lot of people, man. I know, by the way, I know a lot of people that were,
How many billionaire traders are walking around the planet right now?
look, trading is the most difficult business to be great at and survive on planet Earth, dude.
But who does that? Who does that with their own money? Is there one walking, living?
Look, Paul Tudor Jones is one of the greatest traders on the planet, man. So
Yeah.
he survived it, right?
Is he a trader though?
Oh, totally. Paul Tudor Jones is like, yes. But that's the point, Grant. The crypto bros don't even understand. Hey, you're betting against Paul Tudor Jones now. This was not true 8 years ago.
Yeah, he's a hedge fund manager. He's managing a fund. He's not. He's trading other people's money.
Trust me, buddy. Paul Tudor Jones is one of the largest commodity traders in history. And there's a handful of them, and I'll guarantee you, he's lost $1 billion in a year. He's had rough years.
Yeah.
Look, it's a little bit like gambling, right? Like there's some great gamblers in the world, but they're very few. Most people will not like the life of a trader. You won't have a good marriage. You won't have good children. Because the way you think is like you're always looking at your charts, and the bigger your position, like I've had phone calls in Italy in the middle of the night going, bro, your position just went out 80 million. And we have breached every covenant on the planet, and we have to report tomorrow morning. These are not fun discussions to have, right? And then your boss says, hey, should we double it? But these are like, once you get in, like once you get onto an adventure, let's say that Grant and I are going to Victoria Falls and we're going to go on an 8-month adventure in the jungle. Dude, it's an adventure. You have no clue what's going to happen. That is your life. And when the snake bites me, do I have a partner that's not going to run away? Does Grant know how to help me, or can I help myself? This is life, man. So the school part was easy. The problem I see is that most people are using the tools they learned in junior high, and they're taking them into their mature corporate wealth building ages, and like nothing's getting done. And then you call it the middle class like they're a bunch of victims. I don't think they're a bunch of victims. Like everyone has the ability to do this. He and I do not have MBAs. Like, so to me, the failure is how many people die, man. They die broke and all by themselves, regretting the life they didn't live. That's scary, man. Like if you survey a bunch of people that are near their death, they all say the same thing. Wow, dude, I got angry with people over nothing. I should have spent more time. Look at the Steve Jobs. Was Steve Jobs a success or a failure? Before you answer, read his last letter. I'd like to know what he thought about his life. Hey, was it successful? That's all I care about, dude. Every day, hey, am I okay with what I'm doing? And the moment I do something that's off center, and I'm extremely sensitive, I will immediately start to destroy myself. If I do something that's not right, in fact, Dustin, you and I were talking about this last week.
Yep.
There's just some things I can't do, man. My whole energy field just goes fucking lights up like a Christmas tree, and I can't get anything done. I literally create my own problems because I'm trying to stop myself from doing the deal. When I knew all along, oh, wow, this isn't for me.
Well, it's my Grant.
Those are big failures, by the way. Doing something when I knew I shouldn't do it. And it is so hard to get out of that problem.
How do you deal with like when people fail in business, and I've done that a lot, but it's a lot different losing a lot of money. Like the gut punch is just so, it feels like, oh, you've worked so hard, you lose your money. Like I know, Gary, you've lost a lot of money, and Grant, you've had a lot of failures too, but you're very successful now. So like, how do you, this isn't something you read about in a book.
I just want to make for this. I've never lost a lot of money.
Yeah, Grant
No,
will tell you he
Grant
hasn't
has
had any
cash flow.
failures.
He's good. He's
I'm
good.
I'm a cash flow hoe, guys.
Yeah,
But see, that's very interesting, right?
I'm the most conservative person in this room. Trust me.
I want both of your perspectives on this. Yeah.
I don't want to lose money. Like Gary can go to a blackjack table and put 20 grand on a hand, and I'm betting $25, and I'm sweating. The same day I could have bought a $200 million piece of real estate and like nothing. It's like nothing. But I'm not betting more than like $25. I might get to 100. If they split all my twos, I'll have $100 bet. And he'll lose the 20 and not even he'll be fine with it. It's just different strokes for different folks. Like we're identical twins, but we have different responses, and we had different paths too, by the way. He went corporate. I didn't. I didn't really, it wasn't a plan. There was no genetic, there was no God directing me. We're going to make sure that you can't work in the town you live in a refinery town, because you don't have uncles tied to unions and there's 1 out of 4 people out of work. I'm going to force you into sales. Like that was not a, and Gary went off and did Corpus Christi and went and became a gas guy in a corporation. I've never worked for a corporation. I've never had really a paycheck from a company. But it's just different. I think that there's so many ways to do it today to be successful. I'm going to go back to the kids today, man. The kids today. I'm so envious, man. I don't care what the price of a home is. You guys have 10,000 more opportunities than I had when I was coming up. I don't care what the value of a dollar is. Like, it doesn't matter. Bitcoin costs whatever Bitcoin costs today. If you want to be in Bitcoin, whatever, like there are so many ways to get it done today. How many of us knew somebody growing up that was on OnlyFans making $4 million a month? Okay. Or some young kid, 15 years old on YouTube, talking about products that she got, and she's making $1 million a month, talking about cool kids products. This has never happened before. The kid's not even through high school, and it's happening all over the world. And so people just got to find their lane. Gary said it. You got to get good at something, though, and then you got to get better at it, and then you better get great at it. And if you don't get great at it, somebody else is, and you'll be completely relevant. Yeah. They only pay for the masters.
It's a battlefield, man. It's a battlefield. If you just look at failure and success as a business, there are people that want your position. I mean, there's only so many roles to go around, and you're going to have the 2% that are going to win most of the pie. What generalists don't achieve very much. They really, I mean, think about, like, just look around at the generalists. Who do you admire? See, to me, it's very simple. You just look at the people you admire. Go, oh, wow, that. Now, I find it very difficult, right? But there are absolutely people out there that you can admire. But to me, you have to set okay, that's my guidepost, right?
Yeah, and I would just say to that, it reminds me of who I was admiring when I was 25 and 17. You got to be careful about who you are admiring.
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
Yeah,
it's got to change too.
I hear a lot of people come to me and say, "Man, I need a mentor." No, you need to you need to make a list of everybody you're already being mentored by. Okay, every bad habit I have today, every loss I've had, every bad habit, every problem I've ever had in my life, there was another human being behind it. All my problems came with another person. None of them were generated in my own little vacuum. Always a bad guy introducing a bad idea that I bought into. I'm not making them responsible, by the way. I bought into it. I was looking for a mentor when I was 15 years old. My uncles didn't help me. My dad had died. Guess what? Danny, the drug dealer, was more than happy to impress me with his skills. So everybody's got mentors. It could be the guy you're looking at across the street. You're in Harlem, you're in Baltimore, you're in Houston, you live in the projects, and you look across it. There's your mentor. Your mentor or what you see every day. That's what you're being mentored by. Maybe you're watching Instagram all day long, people talking about conspiracy theories, and you become a flat earther. Well, that's okay. So
Are
what
you
I've
saying
chosen,
that? Are you
what I've
saying
chosen,
that you can prove that we're not on a flat Earth? Grant?
no, dude, I believe in flat
Got
earth.
swung out of your lane there,
Oh, we
son.
got ourselves a grow earther here.
I believe in flat earth. I have a feeling we are flat, but you know, I had an uncle that bought 80 homes. He bought 80 Section 8 homes, and I thought he was the man, bro. And so I went and bought one, and then I bought a second one. And then somebody moved out, and I'm like, maybe my uncle doesn't know what he's doing. Because he still lived in the same town, by the way. He was picking up, 30 years later, he was picking up checks on the 5th of the month. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. This happened to me my whole life. The people I wanted to become, when I finally started moving in that direction, I'm like, no, I don't think that's what I want. Brian Tracy, I remember I wanted to, and he's still a big like icon, right? Unbelievable what Brian Tracy did. But then one day I realized he was 60 years old on a plane to Taiwan to speak to an audience for 25 grand. And I'm like, no, that's not the career I want. I had to pivot. I was in the direction of moving to be a professional speaker. I was speaking 200 days of the year. I was becoming that thing I wanted, only to realize one day, wrong target, dude. You got the wrong target. So I think people need to think way bigger than they're thinking right now. Like, you know, imagine telling a 5-year-old kid to pick up 100 pounds. They can't. And that's the same thing with our dreams and goals. No one can actually imagine how much they can accomplish once they have the people in their life that are holding them back away, not holding them back, or their examples that are influencing them.
Do you guys think, based on your long careers, all the failures?
I love that, Gary.
It's very cool.
That's pretty sweet.
You ought to go wide, Gary, on that.
I don't
Do you
know how to
think
do
that
it.
they've always been good? Have they always turned good? Or was
His-
there ever a failure that was just bad, period?
His what always, oh yeah, it's much better, Gary. His what always turned good.
All the failures in your past, do they always end up being good? Like when you reflect on them, were you like, I'm glad that happened? Or are there failures where that was not the case?
Yeah, I'm pretty much glad they all have. I mean, I wouldn't do them again. I wouldn't recommend anybody do drugs. You know, I shouldn't even be alive today. So there's no, look, you know, a fool learns from their own mistakes, and a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. So, you know, picking out a right partner, very important, you know. Continuing to keep the people you listen to. I remember a guy named Pete Balicki. Gary, you remember Pete? Pete and Phil Bosanowski and Pete Balicki. I was 40, maybe 43 years old, searching, midlife crisis. And I'm like, man, they say, Grant, bigger's not better. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I was under the hypnotism. Yes, you're right. Well, if I looked at them, and I love these two guys, right? The cool guys, I love them. But they had both tapped out on business. And so I bought it. It sounded good. Bigger's not better. Phil had gone, you know, almost bankrupt. And Pete had tapped out completely. Like he got beat, had a loss, and completely pulled out of the hustle. And then they impressed that on me. I was at a vulnerable place in my life searching for answers. And I'm like, yeah, bigger's not better. And I quit doing what I had been doing. And I can just tell you, man, for me, bigger is better. It's more fun. It's more exciting. You're in the game. You're being challenged. And that was a big failure for me, Dana, because I sat on the sidelines. For 3 years, I sat on the sidelines. I was more tired in those 3 years than I've ever been in my entire life. I pulled out of the game. I was playing golf 3 times a week. I was trying to be satisfied. That was 22 years ago.
So you know what I hear there, Grant? Like, and I hear this when Gary talks too. both of you were willing to chase down whatever, but then you're also learning it each time and willing to change course once it makes sense, right? So that we talk about staying in your lane. There's also, I've seen people, maybe the worst failures are the people who aren't willing to give up when they realize it's not what they want, it's not making them happy. They're like, oh, well, I've got this college degree that says I'm supposed to do this. You end up hating the job and you feel like you're trapped doing it. What I hear from you is, I did all of these different things. I thought that's what I wanted to be until I got close enough to it to be like, oh, I don't like that part of it. But each one of those things you took skills out of, right? Each one of those things. So to Dana's question, I think it really comes down to mindset, which is you don't see things as total failures if you're constantly learning, and you take them as lessons that are going to help you succeed. And I think that's the like critical part. Hey, you okay? You look worried there all of a sudden.
Who, me?
No, Dana.
Me?
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking about I was wondering, anyone that I know who's done really well, most of them have done very well and failed like in an extreme way. And I'm wondering if that actually is a pattern that you guys have noticed as well. Like extreme failures. Because Grant, you don't lose money, but
Yeah, but I've had failures, right? I've had failures, and you reboot. Just reboot. I've had things not work out. Hey guys, can you guys give me 3 minutes? I'll be right back.
Sure.
Thanks.
for sure.
The greatest failure I see, Dana, is that
Yeah.
people aren't doing what they want to do.
Yes.
They're I told you when you worked for me, I made a comment. I said, when I don't really compete with anyone anymore. I'm in a world now that it's amazing. I've competed with the biggest fucking players on the planet, and I'm not competing with anyone anymore. It's really interesting. When I'm competing with people, though, when I'm in the world, I would look around and go, oh, wow, that guy's married with 2 kids. They're 4 and 6. He's in London. He lives in Houston. He's checked out by Thursday, dude. Okay. I immediately think, oh, you got kids? Awesome, dude. I love children. I do love children, but he was weak. He had a weakness. Okay. Now, why am I sharing that? Because if you're giving up the best years of your life and your children, and you're not really like, I don't care how much money you're making. Now, I think Grant and I may disagree on this. I don't care if you're making $4 million. I was making $7 million a year when I was 40 years old. And the only reason I kept that job and stayed in the job was because I was making $7 million. I was done with it. I was done with it. Then the headaches started showing up, the 3 telephones, and I'm looking around going, whoa, dude, when I was 20 years old, I will never, ever be a whore. I will never get enslaved by anything or anyone. I am not a slave. This ain't happening to me. And I realized I'm working for a Fortune 30 company, 39, 40 years old. I have done it, dude. I'm there. And I'm like, the real guts here is not to stay. The real guts is to exit. Could I squeak out another 20 million? Probably. But I'm not digging it. I have other things I want to learn, man. See, for me, if you're making 200 grand a year, 180 grand a year, and you're in the middle income, but you're learning stuff all the time and you're reading books and you're enjoying your life, awesome. But you can't stop growing. And that's why don't we just call it the middle instead of middle income? It's just the middle, man. There's nothing colorful about it. At least the psychopaths who are trying to destroy us are colorful. And they're most certainly going to go to great lengths. And then you got the super successful people. They're going to extreme lengths.
Okay.
Well, gosh, man, what do you need to do? Dude, you got to decide, do you want to be an extreme human being or be in the middle? And if you decide you want to be in the middle, that is not failure. That is not failure, okay? I do not believe anyone should validate their value because they have money or not have money. Zero. I met the most wonderful lady today that I went to an acupuncturist I've never been to. I think she charged me $60. She can't possibly be making any money. She was a wonderful human being. So she seemed happy to me. She seemed like she had good energy. She's not chasing the money. If I chase the money, I never do it. This will be very interesting to ask Grant. Grant will say, I think he'll say, oh yeah, most certainly chase the deepest pool of money. Well, I could have been doing business with Gazprom, doing $1 billion a day in transactions, and I decided not to because I knew I would get corrupted. Like, I'm smart enough to know, oh no, in order to do that kind of business over there, you have to get your hands dirty.
Gary, did you used to chase the money and then that?
I've never chased the money. I've never chased a dollar in my life. Now, when I invest and I'm like, I always lose it. And the problem with me is I love people. And when a friend of mine says, hey man, I'd really like you to cooperate. I'm like, all right, here, I'll help you out. I mean, and some people will know. They're like, dude, the guy doesn't even look at the deal. Not just yet.
The guy's here.
He'll know. But I've chased the adventure, and the adventure has to be right here. Like, I have so many people wanting me to sell my art. I'm like, dude, I want to paint. I don't want to. If you offered me some money for that, cool, I'll listen. But if I set the price, it's going to be $100,000. Like, because I don't need it. I think the only reason people have ever sold art is because they needed to make a sale. I just keep painting, and one day maybe I'm good. See, this is a very good example of me, okay? I'm doing this because I'm convinced if you do something over and over and over again, I'm sure people are going to laugh and go, your art is stupid. Well, fuck it. At least you're talking about that Gary Cardone's doing some art. And I'm okay with that. I like this painting, man. Okay? Now, this painting, by the way, talking about failure, was a fucking disaster. It was. It was a disaster. It was a complete failure. And I sat there for 3 days. Dana knows where I do this. And I'm like, how can I fix this, man? And then it came to me. I like it now. So I think you just got to try stuff, man. And as long as you're happy. You know, Dustin, you've known me, you know, hey, like I don't do a lot of stuff. There's only a few things I do. And I'm very comfortable in my skin most of the time. Most of the time, I'm very, very, very comfortable. Well, I'd really like not to have the skin. I'd be much more powerful. And that's, dude, like, you go read Steve Jobs' last letter. Okay? People are being deceived by what success is. Go listen to the guy that's being honest with you on his deathbed.
It's a really interesting, like, lesson idea. You said something at the very beginning of the conversation that I think is very relevant to this, right? Which is success comes like the people who break the mold make their own rules, right? They do it their own way. And what's interesting about that is if you're and I agree 100% with this sentiment, which is the coolest people I've ever known play by their own rules. Now, they have very specific things that they hold themselves to, right? Like Gary, for example, he will not go outside. Like if it's something that he does not feel good about, that's going to disrupt his energy. Like he said, he's very sensitive to it. You can tell right away, he'll kick everybody out of the house. And like, that's it. Like, no, I've had enough. Like, this is done. When you make your own rules, though, and you follow those, you know you're going to sleep at night. And so you've redefined what success and failure is in your own mind based on, am I living up to what I want to be of myself? And that once you get to that point, I hear people talk about manifesting and other things. And I have a couple that have cost me dearly financially that I would not change. So I have this stupid ideological belief that knowledge is supposed to be shared and not hoarded. And that if you develop something that would help lots of people and you hide that from them in order to, like, for greed purposes, to me, it's one of the most evil things you can do. So several times I've developed things that went global that if I had just patented or copyrighted, I could have made tons of money on. Redefining how email worked. I've done a bunch of really crazy stuff that I gave the ideas away for free. But you know what? I sleep well. Even when it was tough, I could point back to those things and say, you know, I live life on my terms and I'm comfortable with it. And again, when you said it at the beginning of the conversation, Gary, it jumped out at me, which is you're right. You can give the like dictionary definition of failure, but if you make your own rules and then you know what? I'll say this too. The biggest failures are when I violated my own damn rules and I always paid the worst penalties and I always had the hardest time getting over those when it was something that was against what I believed in.
Every time.
Yep, every time. And those are the ones that take a long time to recover from. Listen, bad shit happens to everybody all the time. You just get up, pick yourself up, but it's when you violate yourself. Right? Like that. It's not just that you're not living your life. When you're literally your own worst enemy because you can't get out of your own goddamn way or just listen to what you know to be true and what your purpose is. I love the pain.
I had a meeting. A guy came over 2 days ago who I hadn't seen in a year and a half. He's a payments guy. And I was in the payments business from 2010 to 2020, 10 years. Dirtiest business I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't believe it. The stuff I had heard about banks in my life, once I really got in to the consumer side of the banking system, it is disgusting. At least with the institutions, they're big boys and you can trade against each other. One thing that I have never done is, to Dustin's point, I introduce people to a lot of people, and most people get paid to do that. I have never taken a penny for introducing anyone to anyone, and the reason was I am not a broker. I am a proprietary position taker. I don't want to make fees. I'm not a whore. I'm not a consultant. I am a risk taker. And you can't do both these things. The point of my story is this man's calling me after knowing me for 10 years going, hey man, I might be in trouble. I took some fees, my client's in trouble. And I'm like, well, how much you take? Well, 40 grand. I'm like, well, you're not going to get in trouble over 40 grand, dude. But like this guy's life is being ruined right now over 40 grand. And he makes 300 grand for the bank he works for.
Somebody say payments.
Welcome.
If you want to, Diane, it's good karma. I would.
Did you guys solve all the problems?
Yeah, world hunger's done. Everyone is
Done.
rich, and there's zero failures.
Gary started talking about payments. I had to bring the look helmet out. I can't help myself.
But
Isn't that
you
cool,
see, like I could have made shitloads of money, man. Now, why am I sharing this story? I ended up having an investigation through the FTC. It would lead to a class action RICO filing. And I just walk in the courtroom every time to show me the fucking motive. Okay,
So-
I've never taken a fee from any of these people. There's no financial gain here. And dude, I'm literally, I could have made $1 million a month. I mean, we're talking about serious money for 10 years. Just cha-chang, they would have paid me offshore too. Dustin knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I would be in so much trouble today, but I would have been in trouble before that because I have never believed in taking fees. I'm not a consultant. I'm not a broker. I'm not a middleman. I want to know so much about middlemen do not have to understand their business. A guy that's taking a monster position has to understand everything. And that's my little trick to myself. Grant goes broke. I go into I'm like, dude, if I make a mistake, this is going to crucify me. So what do? You learn everything about the industry you possibly can, figure out all the exits, and do the best you can, work harder than the next guy, and you'll probably be okay. And then make sure the biggest problem most people make is that they don't get in the right platform. They go get a job instead of getting a life.
So Grant, while you were gone, Gary posed a question. I thought it was a good one. I wanted to make sure we went back to it. Essentially, it's, can you be successful and be poor? Like, do you have to get the big bag to be successful?
I personally, I've thought about this many times. I've been asked it so many times. So I've had to really, retest myself every time. I think it is absolutely impossible to be successful and have no money. Now, I know I'm going to get a bunch of backlash every time I say it, because I know what people like. It's like saying a home is not an investment. You get backlash because people got to have my house, man. Shit.
Let me understand something. You said you can't be successful.
Can I just finish?
I just want to understand what you said, though. I didn't hear it completely.
I said I think it is absolutely impossible to be successful and not have money. Let's say you're broke, completely broke. You have zero. Now we're talking about like you're out, tapped out. That means you have no food tonight, no place to live tonight. You can't pay your bills. Your mom's dying. You can't help her out. Your kid's needs to go to a treatment center, or maybe the other kid's wants to go to college and they need some dough. How can you call that success when you can't pay bills? You could call it psychopathic. Like, you'd have to be like a little mentally disturbed, any more than I believe somebody could actually be happy without money. And the reason why is I've been without money. Okay. I did a show called Undercover Billionaire, and I had no money. I had to give up my name. I had no idea what I was getting into. I gave up my name. I couldn't use my credit cards, couldn't use my phone. They took my telephone away from me. Bro, you want to find out how addicted you are? Let me take your phone from you. My social media, which I use every day to build my business, couldn't use that. I had $100, no place to live, no food, no water, an old truck, and I had 5 hours before the sun went down, and it was 16 degrees outside. I was not happy. I was scared. And by the way, if I'd have been happy in that condition, bro, you're talking about pathological shit. Okay. Because how could you be? I was scared because I'm like, I'm not going to have a place to sleep tonight. I wasn't thinking about money. I'm thinking about, where am I going to sleep tonight? What am I doing for food? I'm going to get hungry sooner or later. So that's my point about people that say, oh, money won't make you happy. And, look, those two things we shouldn't even have in the same conversation. They have nothing to do with one another. It's like, can I mountain ski and play golf? No, you can't do both of those at the same time. They're different things. They're different games. And so that's all, Gary. I know you're gonna say I'm wrong, that people can be happy and broke, but I've been broke and I was never happy about it. And I've been rich. I've been rich and not been happy too, by the way. And if you give me a choice and I can't be happy, bro, I want to be rich. I'm just saying. The question is, do you want to be on a private plane unhappy, or do you want to be in Southwest unhappy? I just think it's not a fair question. I think the question's poor. It's a poor question. Can somebody be successful and not have any money? I don't know how that works. I don't know how you can think of yourself as a success when you live on a planet with endless amounts of money. Endless amounts. There's no reason for anybody not to have money, except for extreme conditions. Gaza Strip, something terrible happened in Nigeria, but not here in America, dude. Not even in what happened this week in South Chicago.
But dude, there's plenty of Gaza is going on in families right now. I mean, you don't know what happens when somebody's 16 years old and then they come into the world. They're dealing with their own
That's fair.
mental
That's fair.
puzzle, quite frankly, and most of which is fiction,
Yeah.
made up, a lot of trauma for most people. So I don't like if I end up broke, but I'm peaceful and happy. I would not want my family to look at me and go, wow, he died as a failure because he didn't have enough money. The question I would have for Grant was, how much money does a man need to have where he's qualified as successful and he's peaceful? Like, is
Yeah.
it
I don't know.
above or below?
I have no experience in that.
But see, I think that's
now
your comment though could get easily
Of course it could.
misunderstood. Well, that's what I was trying to clarify.
It shouldn't be misunderstood. I was very clear on it. I took a very clear stance. There's no lack of clarity in what I said. If a guy is
the lack of clarity is well, how much money?
Hang on a second. You're
how much
67.
money- Yeah.
You're 67 years old, and you say you're my twin brother, and you go broke tomorrow. Okay. Well, guess what? You don't have 20 weeks left to live. You have 20 years left to live. Maybe they said there's a chance, an 80% chance that when the two people in a household, one of them will live to 100 in the future. So you could live 34 years with no money. You might be able to be happy the first 24 hours. You might be peaceful for a week, but bro, sooner or later, shit's going to get nasty. I'm just keeping it real.
So let's keep it real though. If I
How
have
about
no
a piece of art though? I will buy a piece of art.
If I have no O2, I will die. Okay.
Yeah,
So the question is, and I can live on low amounts of O2 for long periods of time. What number is okay at 90 years old? That Gary Cardone wouldn't be a failure. If I got 250 grand in the bank and I'm paying my bills or my kids are helping me or whatever, but Gary's peaceful. He's doing his art. He's not hurting anybody. He's doing his Sunday thing. I'm a failure.
Yeah. I didn't say, bro, I never used the word failure. You're starting to sound like a Democrat.
No,
so
you said you were making yourself clear. What I'm trying to understand is you said, hey, if you're
question was not about
successful,
failing.
you won't end up broke.
Yeah.
Dude, let me finish the question so the audience can hear. I thought I heard you say, I don't think anyone can be really successful and end up broke. What I'm asking is, okay, well, how much it would be enough for people to feel like at 90, they're like, okay, well, I didn't make 30 million.
Yeah, I heard that. If 30 years from now you have $250,000, you're going to be broke. You know more about the monetary system than I do. Okay, $250,000 will be like $2,500.
What will be enough?
I don't know.
That's my question.
That's a different thing for everybody. I have no clue. But the original question was a simple question. Can a person have nothing and be successful? Can he be broke and be successful? Don't understand how that would happen. I don't know how that dude would be at peace, by the way.
Well, I was going to ask what success means, because I don't think most people would correlate it with peace.
Well, no, you added the peace thing. Dustin,
but I'm asking.
Dustin,
if that was the clear question, then what is success?
We talking about success or peace?
Dustin's original question
was success, not peace.
Yeah. What is success?
Oh, I think success for me is achieving those. I got some known obstacle, not unknown, but known obstacle, and I go achieve that. For instance, I was on here with you guys. Newsmax wanted an interview. We had committed to it. I had to figure out how to bounce out of this, go to Newsmax, do that. That was successful. Had nothing to do with money, but it is a commitment I made. So I figured out how to do both these things and still be with you guys. So now, would I want to do that every day and not have money? Bro, the fact that I got money means I was able to actually do that. And so, I made it very clear. I think putting those two together, success and money, happiness and money, peace and money together in a conversation, none of those things are for sale at the store anyway. You can't go buy happiness at the store. There's no if they had it at the store, Whole Foods
Bro,
would have
there's
it.
not even a common definition for happiness, so we should just remove that from the vocabulary.
I agree with you on that.
But we weren't really talking about happiness. We said, you can't be successful and end up with nothing. I'm not sure about that because I think everyone ends up with fucking absolutely nothing. All this stuff we have, it's at the very last moments. It isn't gonna amount to shit.
But there's
I
one
just
person,
don't think that there's no people out there that are like I would walk away from this Grant hearing, oh wow, Grant thinks that if you don't have some zeros in the bank account,
I didn't say that.
Dude, let me finish. Well in reserve of what you might need, that person was not successful, and I'm not sure that that's true for a Mormon family in Idaho that's making their food and they're doing their thing and they're all taking care of each other. And when the old man becomes the old man, they take care of the old man, then they put him in the grave.
They don't need money.
Exactly. Because the money's not solving their problems, right? It's not. It's the zeros aren't solving the problem. It's zeros, dude. It may be keeping score.
Well,
but I know you and I know an awful lot of really, 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 really rich people that we don't want to spend very much time with.
No, I don't have that. I actually don't have that. I don't know a lot of rich people, and I don't know a lot of rich people that I don't want to spend time with. I don't spend time with people I don't want to spend time with. So it doesn't matter how much money they have. But again, you're conflating some of these conversations because now you're talking about the Mormon guy that can grow his own food, and he doesn't need money and he's happy. Like that it's just we're not going to get anywhere in this conversation.
Grant, maybe we need to think about the 8 billion people that don't live in America and they don't all have, an industrial opportunity, because there are a lot of people around America even that actually live in exactly the same condition I just talked about, where they're living in neighborhoods and communities and they're not chasing the dollar. They're doing other things. They're what you call the middle class. I don't think all those people are unhappy. I think they will look at their lives as very successful. I know a guy that's got 23 grandkids and six primary children. He makes very little money. I've got a driver that's got 3 kids going to Duke, Stanford, and Harvard. He has nothing. He's the nicest, coolest guy I know.
Yeah.
So I just, and maybe that's not what you're saying. It sounds to me like that's what you're saying. You need a bunch of those zeros. And I just don't think that's for the audience that's listening. If I chased the zeros, I would have been unhappy.
I think Grant's point though is that the thing is, right, we define success. There's many different ways we can define success that are separate of each other. And having lots of money makes it easier to pursue all of the other things you want to do. Gary, you don't have to go figure out, like, if you need a certain paint or a canvas to do the art you want to do, right? You don't have to go figure out how you're going to scrounge that out. Money makes it available, right? It also in business and or in politics or whatever it is, if you don't have money, it's a weakness and a vulnerability that other people can and will exploit
100%.
to take an advantage over you. And so again, I think maybe calling it a failure and not a success is like the tricky ground. There's one guy that kept popping in my head. I grew up with this kid. His dad was a Mason, like not like the secret society Mason. Like he actually did like bricklaying. And he worked himself to the bone until he was like 65. One of the happiest people I ever knew. He loved what he did.
Yeah.
But you know what? As he got older, he learned how to invest. He ended up buying himself a ranch. He had some horses, right? He continued to work because he loved the work. He's not somebody that we would have ever considered quote unquote rich, but because he was content with like his purpose in the world, he was very happy. He was a joy to be around. So I think you have to, like Grant said, you can be poor and still be successful with family. You cannot be extremely wealthy and still be successful, maybe spiritually emotionally, or maybe, right, you're a great community leader, but the full package of success is almost impossible to accomplish without money.
Yeah, it seems like success is like living up to your potential or trying to. Like the saddest thing is not living up to your potential. I think like the saddest thing in the world. And I used to not really be motivated as much financially until I was at a really low point, didn't have money, couldn't take care of myself. And it was like, okay, I'm motivated by fear now. So now I have to make it or I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And it's like, was I happy then? Like, could I be happy? No. But if I didn't have anything and I had family and friends around, would my gratitude maybe be more if I was like in a good place? Could it be higher? Yeah, maybe, because maybe I wouldn't be in the rat race. And maybe that's like what Gary and Grant are both trying to say.
Yeah.
It's not yeah,
I-
go ahead.
I think that's well said. And I think part of my purpose on this planet, which is where the greatest richness in wealth is finding your purpose. I am fully on my purpose on a day to day. And that purpose is to inspire people to have more and do more. And so it's part of my mantra and part of my purpose line is I am never going to give anyone even a narrow margin of error or some approval that they shouldn't go out and get everything they can. I don't even want to like have a welcome mat out there saying it's okay to settle. That's not my purpose. My purpose line is to expand, extend yourself, take risk, learn more, have more, give it all away, dude. Gary said we're gonna end up with no zeros. Okay, maybe, but maybe I figure out a way to give it away to the next generation or my church, or it doesn't have to go away. Maybe it can go with me. Look, I don't believe most of what I'm told today. I'm starting to challenge everything. I don't think we went to the moon. I'm absolutely certain we're not a fucking marble planet. COVID I knew was a scam. Money shit. And so when they say I got to pay taxes, I know for sure I don't have to because I ain't paying a penny this year. And the other one is you only live once. I'm convinced I'm not going to only live once, and then I can come back to and slide back into what I created this first time, and I'm going to have a lot of friends on this planet because I serviced a lot of people and inspired people. So I don't think me and Gary are actually disagreeing, but it does make for good entertainment.
It's almost like your brothers or something.
Gary, I would like you to send me that piece of art that you have there, though, buddy. If you could just send me that, please. I would love to buy that from you. I keep telling Gary to sell his art. I want to set him up in a gallery. He won't let me do it yet, but I'm gonna keep working on him so I'll figure it out.
I think he's frozen right now.
Yeah, I think he is too.
Yeah, he's up.
I'd display some Gary art, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll ask him about that later. That'd be cool. Where are you going to hang that up? In your house?
Part of what I was saying, Dana, is because I made the mistake of settling in my life. And it was very painful for me. I settled in relationships. I settled in my job. I settled in an industry. I settled for the income. I had 3 employees. I worked from my house. So many dumb things I did. Most of the mistakes I've made have been not taking enough risk and thinking way too small. If there was one big mistake I've made in my whole career, it was thinking too small, underestimating what God had gifted me with. And, that when I see Elon, I'm like, dude, now that's work ethic right there. When I see what Steve Jobs did, the courage to sell a phone to a planet that didn't ask for one. No feedback. In fact, everybody said, don't do it. Henry Ford built a vehicle that nobody was asking for. People were completely satisfied with horses. That inspires me as much as a one hand catch over your shoulder, 40-yard pass, and you got 400 pounds in front of you trying to knock you down. Like all that inspires me because it opens me up in a moment for the impossible.
How did you know when you were settling? Is it because you were comfortable?
Yeah, because I wake up in the morning, I knew exactly like how the day was going to play out, and
So
and
you
now,
have less
He likes the
pain.
adventure. He needs the adventure, man.
yeah. Today, like most of the day was shitty because I'm like, I have no idea where I'm going. I have no idea how I'm gonna get back on track for where I was trying to go. Where I was trying to go is now more out of reach than it was 3 months ago. I thought it was right there, and then now it's not. Gary, you got really red now, bro.
Yeah.
And frozen again. I'll say this for people who are struggling. I firmly believe that, and one of the things I love about Grant's message. So if you count your blessings when you're struggling, you will receive more blessings. If you wallow in pity, no, right? Bad shit happens to all of us. Like I've been the whole January 6th stuff. I went through some crazy, terrible shit in my life. Gary went through some crazy, terrible shit. Like we both call it lawyer hell, where you're just like, well, you're doing your life. Now you're going to spend all your time talking to lawyers and dealing with a bunch of like nonsense. But if you wallow in it, you attract more misery. If you live with a heart of gratitude, you'll receive more blessings. I found no more firm rule in life than that. And so I like you, people who are constantly telling me a bad story, like who constantly have something negative that happened to, you know what, I woke up and stubbed my toe too. I'm just not going to freaking talk about it because I don't want to attract that negativity to myself. And again, count your blessings. Even like you will get more blessings beget blessings. So,
Gary, what's happening is your artwork is stealing all the light. Just so you know, you might want to kill the background, the light changed at your house. So that's probably why it's doing that.
Well, I keep losing. Yeah, okay.
It's robbing your light. The art behind you is grabbing your light from you. Yeah, and I wish I was more mature to be more grateful more of the time. I'm actually a very immature person. I love enemies, and there's nothing more than Ralph Gianelli, Rob Shamali, Bob Moore, what's his name? John Leisure that ran T-Mobile, this guy, Justin Grinko. These are all people that caused me problems in my life. And I'm already admitting this is very immature. It's not very spiritual, but I use those guys not to get zeros, but to make sure they see every single day that they underestimated me. And I am going to push it in their face every day. I'm going to make them sick to their stomach on a daily. And I'm going to make sure they have to see me. Like probably 25% of the posts that I do on social media is intended for my enemy. It has nothing to do with acquiring a customer.
You know what's funny about that? Another thing I've noticed about really successful people, they often have nemesis.
Yes.
Right? They have somebody that drives them to show them like having an arch nemesis or nemesis.
Yeah.
It's another thing I've noticed. Really successful people almost always have. And they're happy to tell you about how terrible they are.
Yeah. Tom Brady, I did an interview with Tom at our growth conference in Vegas. And one of the most incredible hours that I spent with a guy, super intense individual. I actually thought the interview was going to be terrible, and it was phenomenal. And he said that he used to make up lies before a game and share them with his team that, hey, Gronk, this guy said this and this about you, So, I think having some nemesis, can be a good thing.
I also, you should choose your nemesis wisely too, which is never punch down, right? Like you should, if you aim for a nemesis that is below you, it's the definition of it. It's like getting into a fight with a 90-year-old.
Yeah.
Either you win and you're the worst person ever, or
Yeah,
you
exactly.
in a fight to a 90-year-old. There
Yeah.
is no winning for you.
Yeah, that's right.
Pick your nemesis wisely.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think we got it all. We've completed the failure success.
So we're all successes now.
I feel it. I'm
Do-
pouring my insides are successful.
Do you have some advice for us, Gary, about failure?
Like I would embrace it, man. I mean, if it's happening, might as well embrace it. You know, if it's happening. I mean, I always know if it's happening. So it's like I just need to know when I get off course, and I get off course all the time. Like,
So how do you embrace it? You just joke about it, you laugh about it. I feel like when I have a failure, I want to share it selectively with very few people.
I think it. I mean, is it a failure or a challenge? Because to
Okay.
me, they're just challenges. And like if I blow my head off, I fail. Okay, but as long as I'm able to get through it, man. Like maybe I might have to call somebody up and go, I need some help with this. This problem is so large for me, I don't even know how to look at it properly. Don't know how I got into it. And if you're living a life and you never have any of those, that's awesome. Okay. For me, going off into the ditch sometimes is actually very good for me. Because then it gives me a real clear, I am not supposed to be here. How the hell did I get here? Who cares? I know I'm in the ditch, man. I know, or even going toward the ditch. Now I know I've done it enough times. I know the indicators that push me in that direction. And that's what Dustin's saying. Hey, Gary, just say, nah, dude. Like I met a man yesterday, came over for lunch. I've met him 3 times. I love the guy. He wants me to be an investor. And my old self would have been like, yeah, okay, here's 50 grand. But I'm like, bro, I have no interest. I like you. I have no interest in your project. Zero. And if I don't, I'm not going to be impactful to them. And you don't want me there. You want people that are like, drank the Kool-Aid and they're digging it, not just because, that guy's got a name. Who cares? The other thing I want to just talk about Grant, I will say, Grant, every one of his businesses, Dustin, are so symbiotic. I mean, it like when you really look under the hood, it's all the same thing. A bunch of connecting pieces. So to me, it's I mean, that's awesome, and not to have equity with a bunch of players, all whether it's public or private. And I still think that's available. Like if I was a young man, whether I'm 22 or 32, I'd be building my own business right now. Or find someone like me or Grant or somebody like you can go work for who can guide you and go, hey, you go do this. I'll pay you. I'm going to probably make most of the ups. But you also get taught. And this is a huge mistake people are not making. They're like, I'm going to just go run my own podcast and I'll make 100 grand a year this year. Oh, of course you will, dude. You make 300 if you want in a bull market. But when this thing turns, ain't nobody going to be advertising with you. Okay. And then have you thought about, oh, wow, you took that advertiser and you can't actually tell them what you actually believe in about something. And now you're a prostitute, 23 years old, and you're like, nah, I need that fucking income, dude. That's why I've never taken an advertiser, because I'm crazy. If I think there's something wrong in the world, I am going to say it if somebody asks me. I'm not going to, oh, well, I don't want Visa to be upset with me. Hey, fuck them, man. They're bad. You're either bad or you're not bad. You're either contributing good or you're not contributing good. And a lot of companies are taking shit from people. It's not cool. You got 4 entrepreneurs on this. This is what it really irritates me. It is not cool the people they take money from. These are big companies abusing small people. Like Goldman Sachs, come hit me, man. Hit me with your best shot. That's awesome. But don't go pick on Dana. It's not cool. So, and a lot of people make a living doing that, dude. I think they end up, I don't care how much money they have, they're not happy people. They can't be happy people. They didn't produce anything that was happy. It was parasitic, period. I can't do that. I just can't do it. I will go so off the rails so fast, it's unbelievable. And you either know that about yourself or you don't.
Well, one of the things you guys both kind of got into that I hope people, I'm just going to highlight it as like my last comment on this one. Both of you at different points have basically said that if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you will sell. You, like Grant talked about resentment. Gary, you talked about like going into the ditch. We have the natural ability to sense when we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Totally.
Right? When we're not living up to what we're supposed, like what, and it's different for everybody, but we all know if there's something that just doesn't feel right, like it's because there's something wrong, and right, and sometimes you need to embrace the failure and going into the ditch to be able to self-reflect and figure out what it is.
You know, Dustin, the moment I know that it's starting, there's one consistent indicator, dude, every time. Grant, I'll be interested to see if you agree with this. I begin rationalizing and justifying why I'm doing it. I begin telling you, let me explain to you why I'm going to do this. I start giving you excuses for it immediately, dude. I'm like, why would I have to give anybody a reason? I'm really trying to convince myself why I'm doing it. Every time, dude. It's when I start rationalizing.
Okay, so everyone should live in their purpose. Don't listen to rules unless they're your own rules.
Dana's a
Make sure
beast. That's
you
right,
don't
Dana.
lose money if you don't want to, or go all in like Gary does. Look at Dustin. And please come to our Cardone debates next Tuesday at 5. Thank you so much, Grant, for blessing
Grant, thank
us
you, buddy.
with your presence.
Thank you guys. Bang, bang.
Awesome advice. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, audience.
Go team audience. Hey, you guys are awesome. We love you. Now, what you guys have to do, since we charge so much for this show, you guys have to go out and treat somebody extremely special today. Within the next 12 hours, you got to get out of your comfort zone and go do something nice for someone else. In fact, I'll give you 18 hours, okay? 18 hours, and you cannot take credit for it. Do something nice for someone, take 0 credit, don't tell anyone, write it in your little notepad about how cool you are. And that's going to make the world a hell of a lot better place, believe me. Grant, any comments?
No, I love that, man. You got until noon tomorrow. Get it done. Be the one.
Bye.